pretty good out here. This is pretty good. I'm not so overweight coward. I already walked 3 miles today. I should get a bike. Nah. Just get a steady cam. Should get a GoPro and attach it to my chest. Look really weird. Yes, heading to school. Got a molecular biology lab and human physiology. Ugh. Long day. Yeah. It's good just to get out and walk sometimes. Get out, prevent a lot of issues. Maybe, I don't know, compartment syndrome, fecal impaction, all types of stuff. Never heard of a Slobberknocker? It's like a melee, a fight. Slobberknockers. You ever heard of that term? It's an old term. Gonna play out, yeah. Definitely didn't watch my stuff. Sounded sexual. Yeah, well, it's a Slobberknocker. What? I'm not sure what that would even be. Not even sure. So, yeah. Oh no. Everyone on the internet's way smarter than me. Here's what's funny. We're all having a good laugh. There have been very few people that have actually kind of caught on to some of the actual issues with this whole legal matter. Very few have separated, or should I say, divested their emotions from the issue to try and look at it objectively. And it's sad. And this morning, a lot of us were just sitting and laughing at a lot of the Steve supplicants who are falling over themselves trying to Google fucking jargon, legal jargon, to find a way to invalidate a document that none of them read. So that's what's funny. So let me just say, as somebody who is actually in the know, there are possibilities and there are issues. Absolutely. I mean, it's the law, obviously. But there are people who have kind of sat back and go, this may or may not work, and let me enumerate some of the issues that I see. Got it. That's kind of where you should be. Just like with anything, literally anything. There are other people, however, who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Let me pick a few, because I think we shared like 5 or 6 screens or screenshots or whatever from people who have no idea what they're talking about, and it shows. Okay, a few of the comments. Let me wait. It's fucking wind. I swear to God. Come on, wind. Go ahead and blow. Blow me. Blow me, wind. Isn't it the Slobberknocker, the multiple choice episode from Black Mirror? Is it? I don't know. I thought that was a Jabberwocky. Oh, this wind's annoying. Okay, so there was actually a few people who went, hold on for a second, Nate didn't show, that wasn't a book. Nate doesn't even know what a book is. Those are actual comments. Though that was an actual point of contention somebody, a few Steve Supplicants brought up on Twitter. I can't tell you how fucking funny that was. I'm pretty sure most of y'all understand that when someone refers to the books in a business, that's jargon. That's a colloquialism, actually, for like a ledger, a general ledger. It's like an Excel spreadsheet. Thank you. It's not an actual fucking book. I am not fucking kidding you. It wasn't one person. There were several of them that actually said that. I have several books. I've sent photographs of them. People are actually saying that. These are actual fucking people. Yes, I love to poke the bear. But this is just, here's my thing, folks. I absolutely understand what can go right and what can go wrong with this whole process. And some of you have identified them. Some of you. But then there's a certain segment of people who are fucking uninformed. And it's hilarious. The books is a term for a goddamn ledger. It's an accounting document. So yes, showing expenses would fall into that category. That's the books. Oh my God. People are really saying that. This is not an exaggeration. Motherfuckers are actually agreeing with, yeah, I didn't see a book either. And you wonder why I don't respect the people who fall up under Steve. Dumb. Just dumb. It takes all of 2 seconds to go, hold on for a second. Let me look this up. What are they talking about? Just for shits and giggles, I tested my own Google and it took, I think, 0.00135 seconds to find that definition of books, but that's fine. The time it took for some of them to compose those messages, they could have looked it up, but that's fine. But this is one of the things that I love, right? This is one of the things I love. The people who really don't have shit going on in their life and don't know shit want to feel like they're part of something bigger, and they just end up showing how fucking stupid they are. Again, this doesn't fit everyone. This isn't just everyone who kisses Steve's ass, but there's a lot of them, and it's hilarious. It's almost as bad as 62 IQ, our good friend Cheshire, who said that secondhand smoke, not a problem. No issues. Signs off on secondhand smoke. Over 60 years of research. And said, no, I don't say that problem. Dumb. That dumb. But I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. Oh my God. Jesus. Like, it's cool. Not everybody is on the same level. I got it. But don't weigh in on shit and try to flex when you don't know shit. Because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm still laughing at the dude. Actually, the same dude who was calling his super chats an investment, he's one of the people still saying stupid shit. Bitch, I see why you work so many hours. You can't get a better job. You dumb. I see why you have to work that hard. Oh my God. The same dude. Like, do you make it your passion just to say wrong shit? Is being erroneous what gets you off? Yes, this is the same dude who was saying his super chats were an investment. There's no way you know what an investment is. There's no fucking way. Oh my God. And he got mad because I called his ass out. Like, no, you were just wrong and dumb. He got mad. He didn't like that. No, enjoy. The blue book value of my car isn't in the blue book. Does that mean something? That means it probably exceeds a certain amount, or it's rare. They don't have any information on it. Uni's followers are just as bad. I've heard. I'm not going to contest that point. The dude spent 7-8 hours on this yesterday. Uni is obsessed with this. This Stacy chick said it would make her year if Steve owed money. Sad life. Yeah. Man, like this. People want. They want to be a part of something so bad. And look, I get it. You want to feel like you're doing something. You want to root for your team. But you have to understand that if you're going to do that, at least be able to, on some level, do your own research. Because here's part of the problem. While everybody can speculate, how many people have actually been following this case, divested of their emotions, their feelings toward people? Because that's in almost every post, how they feel about Kyle, because that matters. How they feel about Steve, because that matters. And actually sat down and read the legal documents. How many people have actually done that? Just think about that. The people who are judging the value of the document that appeared on screen, how many of them even know how many pages that document is and what else it contains before they judge the value of the entire document? Because it's about 56 pages. How many of them have actually gone through it and read it? How many of them have the knowledge to know what they're reading? These are pertinent questions. It's the same type of stuff where people say, I say people, new atheists, there's nothing historically accurate in the Bible. That's actually false. There are accurate historical documents to a certain degree. But it's intellectual laziness, folks. But they've been groomed that way. I want my tax write-off. There you go. It's funny. It's funny. You know, yeah, it's an interesting comeback. It may not make a bit of a difference at all. It may not. But people's investment in this is hilarious to me. Absolutely fucking hilarious. Woo! Is it 9-point font? No. Oh man. Joey D's right. I don't really give a shit about any of this. I just think it's funny. I think it's hilarious from the people who are part of what's easily a cult, who are discouraged from actually thinking on their own and have to be coerced into what they will and won't interact with. Woo! My horse is amazing. What's interesting is some of us who kind of knew about this beforehand, a few of us, we already knew what the responses were going to be. And like clockwork, no pun intended, some of y'all did not disappoint. The smart person, this is just me, the smart person would do this. Hey, that document's going to become publicly available. Let me sit down and look at it before I weigh in. Let me go back. The publicly available documents that deal with this case, let me go read them. Let me consult somebody who has passed the bar, probably still practices law or teaches law, and have them look at it. I know what my contentions are. Let me make sure that they're legit. Does that seem fair to everybody? Read all the documents, not tweets, not blurbs, not listen to YouTube videos. actually doing reading, actually doing research, consulting an authority on the matter. Just saying. I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. How many people do you see actually doing that? But you got people who, I guess they think because they debunk flat Earth, that they become subject matter experts using Google and high school trig. I don't get that. Maybe it's not me. I don't know. Earning all this drag is that drag will make the most money out of non-sequitur lawsuit. Solve for the laws. That's the crazy part about any of this. How many of them will actually say, let me sit down and read all documents? I know I've only taken an accounting class. I kind of know what a ledger is. I understand what the term books means. But let me defer to somebody who has nothing to do with this, because they're probably the most objective. I have my contentions. I have a list of them. I can be disabused of them based on what this law professor or actual lawyer says. I think that's fair, because they're not weighing in on whether they like somebody or not. And that's something for people to look for. When you see people's comments, look for how often they inject how they feel about one of the business partners, whether that's before or against, whether that's before, or for or against, rather. Think about that. Oh, so I had to wipe everybody's wrench except for people who are mods and admins in my Discord. I still getting messages that folks' accounts are being banned. And sure enough, I went through and somebody's account is banned that I've known for the entire time I've been on YouTube. So all the wrenches got wiped except for like 5. Again, they correspond with the people who are mods and admins in my Discord. And then my wife. So I don't like to have to keep doing that because folks are upset by petty beef they have with one another. So that's why wrenches are gone. Not too happy about that. So that's that. Let me see. Interested in accounting, thought the double entry system meant she put it. Oh, that motherfucker. I think I missed something. Mays, great lawsuit actually made to the actual judge. Well, yeah, he has a lawyer. He has an actual lawyer. He's new, but So, hold on. Let me get back. Necessary prudence. That's something that is a greater point I want to make out of all. Hard on Wi-Fi. No, these buildings are blocking signal. Which is strange because they really didn't do that before. Let me go around here. Give me a second. Walk around back. All right. From that building, I moved. So hopefully the further away I get from that building, I'll be all right. Uh-oh, truck's here. Hell yeah. Read a book, not be a lazy bum. Okay. It's not a taco truck, it's the chicken and waffle truck. Chicken and waffles. Check that out. Nice. All right. I'm going to go over here and sit. There's only one Tex-Mex place we really eat at now. A place called Escalante's. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, let's sit down here. This seems to be okay. All right. Okay. All right. Graduate. This is my last full semester of undergrad. I think I got to take one more class during the summer, and that's it. So, all right. Here's the issue. Here's the issue. I want people to consider the environment that you're in. Consider the environment. People can exist within this chat without the fear of being ostracized, banned, exiled, labeled, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna toss shit your way, but it's not a public flogging. Okay, so Super Dad, yeah, you will get. I will put you in timeout for that. Dipco girl, Vitco, Vespo girl, whatever that shit is. That sk bullshit. I forgot what it's called. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, think of the environment you're in. If you are encouraging people to discern the facts behind a matter, should it involve you personally? Vespa, thank you. Should it involve you personally? If you're on my channel and I'm asking you to weigh in on whether or not somebody likes me, are you really inclined to disagree or agree? You know, with whatever I put out about this person, okay? I want y'all to think about that for a second. Just an interpersonal issue. How objective do you think that you're going to really be? Unless it's really, really encouraged. You're more than likely, if you're watching the channel and you're subscribed, more than likely going to lean towards whatever that person says. Right. If you are on a separate platform trying to discern the facts of a matter that don't involve any of the people that you know or that platform, can you be more objective there? Probably. You're not emotionally invested in that. If you're going to impugn the motives of a person, how far into that are you willing to go? Especially if it's a way to raise an objection against a factual matter. All right? Because I'm asking these questions to kind of qualify what I see very, very often. And it's something that you all should look for. If we're just discerning whether or not this person or that person has a credible case in the court of law, what matters in the court of law? Is it your personal feelings about a person? Or is it the preponderance of evidence that you can put forth and bring before a judge or a jury, depending on what type of case it is? If you chose the latter, if you agree that the most objective way to go about doing something like that is the latter, then you have to ask yourself something. When you see people kind of report on what's going on here with all this nonsense and non sequitur show, why are the vast majority of comments referencing Kyle or Steve's character or personality? Why do you see the majority of the people who are talking about it referencing certain things of that nature? Because to me, that's not you focusing on the preponderance of evidence. That's not you focusing on how this legal process operates. This is my team versus your team, this versus that, us versus them. Can you be objective while at the same time trying to do that? Okay? That's something to consider. Now, The reason I call people that take up for Steve supplicants is because after interacting with quite a few of them on Twitter, comment sections, on Discord, the vast majority of them, and this I am generalizing here, the vast majority of them don't seem to understand what my contentions even are. In fact, many of them, from what I gather, have been in a culture, in an environment where it is simply us versus them. There's good versus bad, there's black versus white. And so they are not mentally trained with the ability to separate their personal feelings about a person from its subject matter, which would make sense given some of them are fans of the fight the flat earth and the red rhetoric style of discussion, where there's dumb people who don't have the right conclusions, and then there's the upright, smart people who have mostly everything right, which that's not actually how things work. Me understanding a bit about one of those people kind of gives me a bit more insight into how that whole scheme works, but I'm not going to invest a whole lot of time in that. Y'all have heard how I feel about him. That's not important. What's important is if you are valuing skepticism, now capital S skepticism, if you are valuing the ability as objective as you can or impartial as you can as a person, why is your contention littered with your attempts to impugn motives and to defer to somebody's character? Now, this may seem odd coming from me, but I have no illusions about what type of criticism I have. That's why I preface my statements with, this is going to hurt feelings. I'm directly referencing the fact that this sort of thing is a personal opinion about a personal or interpersonal matter that should not be taken as my seal of approval or disapproval of this and that person. You are still an adult, and you are still capable of discerning that for yourself. So when we start to intermingle that sort of narrative within the confines of a discussion topic, such as the shape of the earth, young earth creationism, what have you, that's when the disconnect happens. That is part of the problem, because it's perfectly capable, or it's possible for people who don't like someone for personal reasons to acknowledge the fact that, you know what, they may have a point, they may have a case, but you don't see that type of thing encouraged. And when I end up interacting with some of the people from kind of the what I guess you could refer to as fans of the flat earth, Steve, whatever that is, amalgam of people that sort of find their way over here, it's fairly consistent that they have certain presumptions, which I expect. One of them that I remember from last night was I think her name was Mother Funk. I'm guessing that she's part of the Teen Mom, whatever that Facebook group, fan club, whatever that is. And so I've noticed there was a trend in some of the things that she was saying as far as this group or your group. Even when right before her eyes and ears, there was an active discussion and disagreement. There was a bifurcation between everyone in the room, including myself, as far as the topic of what constitutes a rape apologist. There, at the same time, and this was interesting, she was insisting to some degree that there is some homogenous group of people that I myself represent and everyone else represents, while there is an active disagreement happening right before our eyes. Now, it takes quite a bit of cognitive dissonance to ignore the dissimilarities with that and what is actually known to be a homogenous group, because in order for you to be in a homogenous group in the way that she was, I guess, attributing to us, that there would not be such a disagreement. Is if we're all anti-Steve group, if we're all that group, if we're all the troll group, why would we disagree on one of the criticisms of Steve, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, that maybe you've been misled. Maybe that's something that you should reevaluate. But this is interesting. This happened in real time. She could clearly see that there wasn't a homogenous group, there wasn't a homogenous thought within just those 5 or 6 people. So that to me is somewhat indicative of this mindset, and it's hard for me to consider folks who have that sort of mindset as critical thinkers. You still not shed misconceptions. You still not separated yourself from the misconceptions that are ingrained within you. So I find it interesting that on the one hand, some of us who are, in the arena of academia are supposed to take folks seriously, take their contentions seriously when they fail at the very basics of critical thought. And that's just my criticism. This is what I perceive. You can say that that's my narrative. I can only tell you what I've seen. So I've been known to be wrong. Absolutely. I had someone tell me today that everything that I've told them about Steve has been accurate. You know what? That may be accurate, that may not be accurate. I might have been too harsh. Stuff I said about Kyle may be wrong. But that has nothing to do with whether or not either one of them has a case. That's something separate. You notice that there's a separation there. There's a separation that people don't acknowledge. There's no point in time, that at least that I know of, where within this hive mind that seems to exist within people who follow Steve, that there's a genuine time to have a discussion where people aren't excoriated and exiled and publicly flogged. In fact, somebody pointed out to me today, somebody who used to follow Steve, and that there was something that happened a few weeks ago where Steve was asking people to type in the chat if they disagreed with him on a particular topic. They had to hit the number 2 or something if they disagreed, which is not uncommon. But it wasn't that, it was like Markiplier does stuff like that. If you disagree with me, 1, or if you agree with me, 1, disagree 2. This was a bit more, I say, sinister. Sinister is not the best word for it, because I want to qualify, and I want to accurately depict what I was told. It had to do with whether or not you thought that Steve had lied about something. Now, people have seen on Twitter, on live, what happens when you say, "Hey, Steve, I don't think you were honest about that. You said you didn't tell Kyle to hold the money." Okay, there's a video of you saying that you didn't say it, but there's a video of you telling literally to hold the money. There seems to be a problem with that. We've seen how he's reacted to that, but him opening that channel of communication for folks seems like a good idea. Here I can open myself up. But here's the problem with that. If you've already seen what happens to people who put forth that sort of notion, is that an incentive for you to speak up or a disincentive? So, Drag, what are you talking about? Some of you may not heard of Mao Zedong, and he had a campaign. If you look up Hundreds Flowers campaign, it was when old great leader great Chinese representative of communism, opened up his opponents the ability to challenge communism, challenge him, and challenge the narrative. Now, it seemed like a great measure to open up discourse. What it was actually used for was to make a hit list against who he needs to take out, who needs to be silenced. That's sort of what's happening. And to me, it's interesting that people in that environment and people who've gotten out of it acknowledge that there is a bit of a fear of speaking up against Steve, which again, I don't really understand. But why would you willingly put yourself through that? What do you gain out of that? I don't understand. But I can make as many derogatory comments as I want. I can try to impugn motives. I can do all types of stuff. But I'd rather understand what it is that people are getting out of that sort of thing, because it doesn't seem productive. How are you learning anything in such an environment? Because you know what? You might get your feelings hurt. See you later, Suji. You might get your feelings hurt by me. You can speak, though. Not everyone point and laugh. The people that I was disagreeing with in Nate's chat still got opportunity to voice their opinion. People didn't decide they want to come in, that's fine. Highlighted their comments after the fact, discussed it. Now, you tell me, what type of environment would you rather be in? One where, you know what, there is a discussion that happens, there isn't a public flogging, there's some shit talk, but your questions and contentions are at least taken seriously, right? That's what I find interesting. That's what I really find interesting. And that's what people should look at too. Because I struggle to understand this. I see Uni's crowd telling Nate to kick me. No, I don't. I'm going to be honest with you, Joey. I don't watch Uni stuff. I've tried to like sit and listen to him, but somebody called him a squirrel on meth. That's funny. It's just there's long periods where there's nothing said, and then there's like interspersed with like one or two words or some shit like that. It's really hard for me to follow. I'm sure he has interesting stuff. I mean, he has a pretty good following. I'm pretty sure there's interesting stuff to say that he has to say, but I'm not sure how people actually listen to it. And just to be fair, I don't watch heretic shit. It's way too fucking long, and it's just long and boring and fucking British. So, not my cup of tea. No pun intended. So, there's just kind of a certain style of video that I like listening to, and I will listen to. So, South Texas, raining? But yeah, I'm not in favor of that sort of thing, right? I would rather people have their spats, have their fights in the comments, but I would rather them duke it out. You know, if you disagree, tag somebody, call them out. I'd rather it be discussed rather than just a dog pile. You know, there's only so much you can do in a live chat, though. So that's what I would prefer. And it's one of the reasons I take away a whole bunch of rent. 90% of rents is gone. I think people were abusing them to some degree. So it's all about the type of environment that you encourage. You encourage us versus them. Do you encourage people to think for themselves? Right? That's what you should really wonder. If you are not encouraged to think for yourself, to come to your own conclusions, then what are you doing? Why are you listening to whoever you're listening to? Especially when it comes from folks who want to some degree, consider themselves educated or intellectual, any of that stupid shit. If you're not encouraged to discern the matters and the facts for yourself, why are you listening? Why are you following? Why? Because I can tell you, and this is just me personally, and this is definitely some shit talk, I don't see the value in calling yourself smart because you can throw high school algebra and trig at people who've not been in high school for 2-3 decades. I don't. I'm not impressed by that. Never really was. Okay, cool, awesome. Do you think? But I'm just. But then to kind of like use that as leverage to assert how I guess smart you are, don't take much. Don't take much. Here's a greater point. Now I'll ask y'all this: where people want to consider themselves intelligent. Uh, I was saying that Uni's crowd was telling Nick the community from. Okay. I misread you. My bad. No, that's not. You shouldn't get kicked for dissent unless you're a shitbag. You just like trying to intimidate and dox people. Then you can get fucked. But no, I don't think that's you, Joey. The issue here that I see, especially from folks who like that's the leverage that they use. Some of these guys to, I guess, compel an audience that they know something. Let me ask y'all something for a second, just to kind of draw a little bit of a comparison here, since we're talking about intelligence and academics and all that stupid shit. When has flat Earth actually impacted people's lives? I got a serious question. When has a flat Earth person used the flat Earth belief system, whatever the fuck it is, that has actually had a detrimental impact on like human health? It's a serious question. Yeah, the people believe stupid stuff, right? You can walk around with tinfoil on your hat, but there's nothing that actually happens. Let me draw a comparison now, since it seems that people really don't know where I'm going with this. If you wanted to be impressive, if you wanted to be an academic, if you wanted to be somebody of merit, if you wanted to be smart or whatever, you wanted a challenge, rather than high school trig, how about immunology? And Joey, you see where I'm going with this. If you want to put on airs, if you really want to seem super cool to all the kids, why not pick something that is of pretty dire consequences, like anti-vax? How about studying immunology? How about studying a bit of philosophy as far as, hey, maybe it's more of an epistemological issue? You notice that some of these folks, and I've noticed a trend among folks who fancy themselves flat earth debunkers and they try to front like they're actually smart, a lot of them aren't really critical thinkers. It's almost by happenstance some of them have the correct conclusion on one scientific topic in one niche area. But understanding why people hold the beliefs they don't seem to get, because they don't have the knowledge of how people form beliefs, how people consider things knowledge, which is integral to how they came to a conclusion in the first place. So it's interesting that on the one hand, all these smart guys, supposedly smart guys, don't see that. Just throwing high school mathematics at people isn't how things work. It's not just abusing people of anything. It's interesting. Really interesting. So that's my thing. That's kind of where my standard is. You really want to do something, you really want to consider yourself smart, okay, cool, bro. How about you dedicate yourself to something that's actually and recently impacted human health? Yeah, and then as part of the urge for them to be flat earthers, they want to be a part of a special group. Okay, cool. Sometimes you're not going to disabuse somebody wanting to be a part of that. I think that, Joey, actually that's part of the reason why people got their tongues up Steve's ass. They feel like they're part of something. Well, Steve ain't really part of anything, so I don't know. I'm not sure what they see. Maybe it's something I don't. Whatever it is, I guess I've never been privy to it. Weird. So, anyway, folks, I'm probably going to go heat up this chicken and waffle truck, grab something to eat, and go get an actual education because some people are too stressed to finish theirs. Oh, big shout out, big ups to GE's wife, Casey, getting her degree engineering. I think it's systems engineering, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's systems engineering. Big shout out. Big shout out. She finally did it. Now she can be talked down to by folks on the internet who can't even put in half the work she put in to get hers. Weird how shit works. Yep, there is a chicken and waffle truck. Actually, let's walk over there. I'm gonna end this. This is where y'all's super chats and shit are going on the waffle truck. Funny enough, this is the same waffle truck that was a caterer to my cousin's wedding. That's not a joke either. It was really a chicken and waffle truck. Is it open? Open yet. Yeah, I'm just gonna take off. There's a waffle truck. Waffle bus. The waffle bus. Oh, nope, they're open. Okay. See what time it is. I got time. It's waffle time. Woo. Waffle time.